Big day. The team feel we now have enough info following our talks with possible drivers that we can now start negotiating contracts. Drivers who we've had at least an early meeting with may now be receptive to discussing a contract. Time to get things ready for next season.
Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 16 of season 2 of our F125 My Team career mode. And as you will have heard there, a very important weekend this season. The contract window is now open and we've got to start heading into some talks with various drivers. Now, I'll be honest, I've been quite happy with Isaac Hadjar and Yuki Tsunoda over the course of the season, but Paul Aaron has made it very clear that he wants to try and have a conversation with us, and I think, it's always worth trying, to eye up a few other drivers further up and down the grid. We know, obviously, Oscar Piastri, he's a little bit nerfed inside this game. He's very good, though, IRL. Fernando Alonso is currently a free agent as well, so that'd be quite interesting to potentially try and bring him along to the team at some point in the future. But I think today we are going to try to engage talks with George Russell. Doing very well, actually leading the World Championship with Mercedes, so perhaps that's not such a good idea. Maybe Charles Leclerc could be unhappy with Ferrari. I don't think we've quite got the budget for him, though. You know what? We're going to go with... Alexander Albon, I think. We're gonna try and confirm.
I've reached out with a very early preliminary inquiry to their side. I'll let you know how it goes. Hard to get a read on it at the moment. These things are always fluid and move quickly, but if they're interested in us, I'm sure things will move a bit quicker.
Well, there we are then. I really do think as we head into the future, kind of the best way about going about this is having a really good second driver in the team, and then, of course, obviously, mainly racing as one of them. So I'm not going to talk to anybody else at the moment. I'm going to leave all those things in the works. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Zandvoort, I would highly recommend going back and checking out, or the reverse Zandvoort circuit, I should say, inside F125. It was a really good fun race, but at the moment we are just slowly ticking off the last upgrades that I can do right now inside this game as well. We are slowly but surely, getting everything onto the car, making sure that, we're still making good steady progress at the moment. As you can see, we've got a bit of a backlog in the durability department, but when it comes to all of the other upgrades, we are mainly giving Tsunoda most of them, because I'm going to be driving as Isaac Hadjar, I think, again, in the foreseeable future. Looks like Alpine, though, have made a good step forward, now ahead of Aston Martin in terms of vehicle performance as well there. But still with a lot of upgrades going on behind the scenes as well. I'm going to try and get as many upgrades as we possibly can with the team as well there. So trying to do as much as possible. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. Also, if you want early access to all of these videos, make sure you hit that join button as well for just £1 a month. But yeah, let's return then here to the Temple of Speed.
They call it the Temple of Speed, and the pilgrims have come to worship. It's all about the speed today. Qualifying awaits us. Welcome to Monza for the Italian Grand Prix.
Well, bizarrely then, this might be one of the toughest qualifying sessions we get all season long here. For some reason, the AI are absolutely rapid over one lap around this circuit, so we'll wait and see as to what we can do with our first lap of anger. Let's be fair as well, this car hasn't often suited kind of the really high-speed circuits so far this year. Belgium was probably one of the only great examples of a track where it worked absolutely fantastically. But almost 220 miles an hour there down in towards turn 1. Well, back as Isaac Hadjar this weekend, just because, Yuki, he scored some good points recently, but I thought, I wanted to rep the Frenchman once more towards the end. I think we'll race both of them a few more times before the end of the season. Nice and tidy through the first sector, second sector as well. Hopefully we're going to keep it all nice and clean. But yeah, like I said, the first goal as always is make it into Q2. 4/10 up then on the time set by Jack Crawford. Not fantastic, but not bad here. As Max Verstappen, I believe I saw the Dutchman was all the way down in the 1:15s. Utterly ridiculous for a 3.6 mile lap around this venue. But as we make our way then through the final corner, so much grip in this car. I'm running basically no wing angle whatsoever around this venue today, but we go P11. That's actually pretty good. But there we go then, at the end of Q1, clearly Mercedes, Red Bull, Mercedes and Red Bull are in the mix then at the top of the order. Oscar Piastri fastest over Max Verstappen by just 0.2 of a second, but both of them in the 1-minute 15s. I would expect this to be a good weekend for Williams. Franco Colapinto there up in P7, and Liam Lawson in the Aston Martin once again showcasing his pace. Yuki Tsunoda just squeezes by there by less than 1/10 of a second ahead of Jack Crawford. But that first lap felt pretty good. I'll be staggered if we make Q3. Well, Yuki Tsunoda seems to be upping the pace then in the other car. A 1:17.1 from our teammate. That's going to be a pretty good benchmark here and might just be enough to see him through and into that final qualifying session. Just got to remember to be a bit more strategic with the battery here. As trying to open it up to kickstart the lap. Make sure I don't use too much of our deployment within the lap though. As again, 220 miles an hour. I mean, that Honda engine sounds very strained by the time we get down in towards that first corner. But we've done a good job again. Really throwing the car over the curves through Ascari. Like I said, I think we're running 2 front wing, 0 rear wing here. And the car is still got a little bit of sticking power. Again, just goes to show just how well kind of balanced and downforce orientated the overall philosophy of this machine is. But out of the final corner then, on the run back towards the line, a 16.6 out of nowhere. This car was getting quicker and quicker. Well, there we are then. Oscar Piastri now ahead of George Russell, ever getting closer to the 1-minute 14s in this session. But again, one of the McLarens out in Q2. I think the bigger surprise is neither Williams making it into Q3 here. So again, we've got a good opportunity to outscore them. But Liam Lawson, myself, Jack Doohan, and, well, Esteban Ocon, kind of, I guess, are all squabbling towards the rear of the top 10. We've got 1 run in Q3. I've got to make it count. Well, a 1-minute 15.1 by George Russell, the current benchmark time up at the top of the order. That must mean he's averaging just over, I believe, 170 miles an hour. Utterly insane. Like, my mind cannot comprehend just how quick that lap would look IRL there. But as we try and get our run started then, 220 miles an hour once more on the run towards turn 1. The car just hasn't got any more give past that 220 mile an hour barrier at the moment there. But again, it is just all about getting the car planted over those curves, just not getting too much wheel spin, keeping it nice and stable, and just making sure that we're nice and smooth as well through the corners. Give ourselves the line of at least resistance there, as Verstappen now to the top of the board ahead of those Mercedes. So that's a very good lap time by him. Leclerc even faster for Ferrari, but Russell, he goes even quicker still, a 1:14.993. Utterly insane around this venue. What time are we going to be able to do? As we're certainly not going to be competitive with those guys right towards the front of the order, but we are in our own fight here. Carlos Sainz, only 2/100ths of a second faster than me by the end of Sector 2, as we just try and make sure that we're using the rest of our battery here towards the end of the lap. A 1:15. I'd be very, very happy if we can dip into the 1-minute 15s here by the end of the session. The circuit has really, really ramped up as qualifying has gone on. A little bit wide through the final corner. Drain the battery on the run to the line. A 16.2. I believe we go P8. Well, I thought Max Verstappen was going to create a rather large upset here by claiming pole position. Then I thought Charles Leclerc was going to send the Tifosi to the sky. But there we are, George Russell in the end, denying any shot pole position here. And once again, Mercedes look to be the car to beat. Oscar Piastri, he'll be disappointed down in P5. But, you know, we were a little way behind Ocon and Sainz by the end of the run. Quicker than Liam Lawson and Jack Doohan, though. So we pretty much qualified exactly where we should.
We're back in Italy once again for another round of the Formula One World Championship. And what a great race is in store for us today, here at the oldest circuit on the calendar, which hosted its first race all the way back in 1922. With top speeds up to 215 and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Oscar Piastri and Sainz, Ocon, Hadjar, Lawson and Jack Doohan, Gasly, Albon, Yuki Tsunoda and Colapinto, Stroll, Aaron, Jack Crawford and Ollie Behrman, Antonelli, Bortoletto, Pepe Marti and Nico Hulkenberg rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, let's have a comms check, please. Radio check.
Radio check, okay.
Speed's key here today, so we're going to need a low downforce setup, which of course means that DRS won't be as effective, but hopefully we're going to be so quick we won't even need it.
From listening to both, obviously, Isaac Hadjar and Tsunoda's radio checks this year, I must have picked the two most boring drivers inside F1 25, but for some reason, this game is adamant this race is a two-stop strategy. I don't think that's going to be the way to go. I'm going to try and get the medium tyre, 12 laps and then take a set of hards to the end. It just about worked for us last season, but as the car gets better and better, tyre wear should be a bit easier to manage, and looks like most of the AI have had the same idea. 5 red lights are on, and it's a lights out, and away we go then for the Italian Grand Prix there. Esteban Ocon immediately trying to gain a couple of places there, but nowhere to go on the run in towards turn 1. Well, I've outbroke myself there. Hello, Esteban. I don't know how I've got no damage. Can we... Oh, I've got a warning for a collision.
Red flag. Keep the delta positive, and let's have you straight to the pit lane, please.
I mean, we picked up no damage from that, which is rather impressive in of itself, but not really a lot I could have done in that scenario once I locked the rears. And I guess that's a couple of laps ticked by then in this GP.
A good chance to change our strategy for the rest of the Grand Prix if we want to.
Surely we can't try and effectively no-stop this race on a set of hard tyres. Surely that's not going to be possible this afternoon. We're going to see how far we can take them, though, as we've somehow gained a spot, then ready for the restart. 5 red lights again. It's going to be lights out, and away we go then. So hopefully this time around we can have a bit of a cleaner getaway. Esteban Ocon again, though, immediately will fly past us. I'm going to try and make some progress in towards that first corner. Can we have a look around the outside of a couple of drivers? Ooh, nice and tidy there through the exit of turn 2 was Ocon. Yeah, thank you. Know everything about that. There is still no mark, thank you. We're going to try and move the brake bias slightly more forward then early on, just see if that stops the rear from locking up as badly. But Esteban Ocon, he's on a set of mediums then, so that'll explain why he got quite a good start. But a lot of drama then early on. Looks like Charles Leclerc has been able to get himself up into P1 as well for Ferrari. So, I mean, yeah, championship hopes looking pretty slim for both of those Ferrari drivers right now. But could do them some good in the Constructors' Championship. That's going to be their big goal towards the end of the year. But Oscar Piastri and George Russell have been dominating races recently. So, accidentally slapping the curb through Ascari. I'm intrigued to see how quick this car can go in a straight line, though. But I'm not convinced we're going to stick with Red Bull powertrains ready for next season. We could be looking at potentially swapping our engine supplier. And, well, I think, yeah, maybe this lack of top-end speed, part of the reason for it.
3.7 seconds.
Just double check. Is 230 the absolute maximum? Sorry, 229 even. Yes, it is. As Sainz there thought about trying to cover me off, and then I think he thought he was safe in towards that braking zone at turn 1, but we still sent it. And now we've got to try and get out of his DRS range. McLaren behind me going wheel to wheel, so Pierre Gasly trying to make a bit of an impact early on, and that's worked out fantastically then. Immediately just giving ourselves a few extra tenths in the back pocket over the Frenchman. Not a chance are we going to get to the end of this race on this set of hard compound tyres. The wear is just a bit too much today to really manage that, but I reckon we could be aiming to get to about lap 20 and then on a set of softs to the flag. There we go, we've got to try and work with Pierre Gasly there at the moment, as the Frenchman will get down the inside by the time we get in towards the Ascari chicane. So if we can both work together to get back up to those Red Bulls, then I'm not going to complain about it.
Lost the position, try to keep focus.
The Sainz and Albon as well, just struggling a little bit behind me on their harder compounds. So definitely the mediums still providing a rather comfortable advantage over anything the hards can do right now. But again, we'll try and drain some battery on the run in towards Turn 1, tucked up in the wheel tracks of Pierre. Come on then, 229.
Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 12.8 seconds.
Interesting that the limiter on this year's game is set to 13,000. Usually it's been just a little bit higher on recent games, but yeah, that might be, I think, either it's just kind of the Red Bull power unit that's being affected by it, or it's all of them inside F125. I don't actually know just yet. Good luck trying to hit VMAX in the Aston Martin. There we go, Charles Leclerc, first one into the pit lane. George Russell is going to follow him in. So, I mean, they should be able to get to the end if they're bolting on a set of hard tyres from here. But again, the wear seems to have been a little bit worse than I think a lot of people were expecting, as Gasly in, Ocon in as well.
Gap to the car in front, 7.7 seconds.
And they are all opting for a set of hard compound tyres to the checkered flag. So when we do pit, we're going to have quite the margin of advantage over them. But yeah, we've got to get these to at least kind of the end of 18. And I'm just not convinced they're going to get there if I wanted to go soft to the end. I think we'll have to bolt on. Oh, we have got a fresh set of mediums. That's all right then.
Okay,
so I think that's going to be the plan. Sonoda then into the pit lane. He's having a pretty terrible day of it here. There we go. Oscar Piastri's in. That's very early off of his set of hard compound tyres. Everybody's in then. So what is Piastri doing to get himself to the checkered flag? We now take the lead of the GP, which I'm very happy about. But yeah, no idea what's going on with some of the AI strategy. A safety car or another red flag now would work out fantastically for us. Well, I have taken this set of tyres one lap extra then, as all the yellow flags out, and I think that must be Pierre Gasly that could be dropping to the wayside here. So the one man that I was likely going to be battling with towards the checkered flag seems to be out of it here, as we are definitely going to be diving into the pit lane though at the end of this lap. But I think we've given Charles Leclerc just a little bit of DRS as well to help him keep that gap up against George Russell here towards the end of the GP. But just about getting the car slowed down into the pit lane there. I mean, Leclerc, a 179 in race trim. I know we've still got a few more upgrades to go on this game, but how much quicker can some of those top cars get inside this career mode then, as hopefully we'll get a nice clean tidy stop, which we will. It's going to be out around Colapinto, but obviously we are on going to fresher, softer tyres to the end. So hopefully we're going to be able to try and defend from Franco in towards Turn 1. I think we've actually got a fair old gap over him. So just ease these tyres in nice and tidy. 10 laps to go. I don't think we can go a second a lap faster than the Red Bulls unless they really trip each other up. But as we get ready then to start the last lap here from the Temple of Speed, the second half of this race, well, we've basically just been solidifying ourselves in this P7 position. But I tell you what, McLaren, I don't know whether it's just been a bit of a temporary blip for them, but with a couple of mechanical failures and everything else, they are really beginning to struggle, and maybe, just maybe, we can still mount a challenge against them in the Constructors between now and the end of the year. The only difficult thing we've got, of course, is that the big three teams, they just keep picking up all of the big points at the moment. But Mercedes, they have dominated recent times this season, but Charles Leclerc has come back to Monza today in front of the Tifosi once again and absolutely showcased what he is capable of when the car is working well underneath him. In towards the final corner. I believe he won this race last season as well. Charles Leclerc, he is going to win the Italian Grand Prix yet again for Ferrari here. Back on top in front of the Tifosi. He will be ecstatic with that. George Russell, another P2 finish for him, but again, he extends his World Championship lead over his teammate as well. That's a bit scary on the last lap of the GP there, as the tyre wear warning light had just flashed up. And clearly the tyres are starting to give up as well. So one more corner to go here at the Temple of Speed. I don't think we can complain about P7 when all is said and done. Very, very happy with the result and very, very happy with the pace today. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting it.
Charles Leclerc, what a drive, what a victory, he wins!
to do it as a team on home soil, that really means something special. And you can see how much it means to them, the drivers involved as well. Great job by them today, of course, as always. But for the fans watching on too, a great display of teamwork here today.
It's time for our podium celebrations. And as ever in Formula One, 3 is the magic number. And who gets to take the top step of the podium? Yes, it is I, Leclerc, Charles Leclerc on top.
Well, there we are then. Charles Leclerc will take victory here at the Temple of Speed. 5 seconds clear of George Russell come the checkered flag. Lando Norris will mean it's a double Ferrari podium this weekend, just ahead of Oscar Piastri. But for us, we had a 10-second gap in front and a 10-second gap behind come the checkered flag there. We really are just best of the rest right now. But still, you know, we need to continue the momentum if we want to try and break in and really challenge those top teams there. Williams, though, scoring good points this weekend means we'll only offset them by 1 point in the World Championship. Just Pierre Gasly that failed to see the checkered flag, and both of those Sauers once again ending up a lap down there. Championship-wise, well, Russell now 63 clear of Charles Leclerc, who's back ahead of Lando Norris in the World Championship. Oscar Piastri still in P3 ahead of both Red Bulls, both McLarens, and then both 212 Motorsport cars. It might soon be both Williams if Colapinto can get a few more races like that under his belt. Then you can just see a little bit of a shake-up towards the rear of the field, with still just both V-Carbs and Kick Saubers yet to score. Constructors-wise, Ferrari do close back in on Mercedes ever so slightly. The gap 35 now, with still 1/3 left of this World Championship. 65, the gap between us and McLaren. Could we possibly close that down by the end of the season? Only time will tell. I'm not optimistic, but it only takes one crazy result for that gap to really carve down as well. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.